Well, greetings once again. It's that time to start proceedings with regards to the World Cup. The first match of today taking place between Japan and Costa Rica at the Ahmed bin Ali Stadium in Qatar. And the referee for this game is an Englishman, Michael Oliver, of course, well known to Premiership audiences as a referee in that competition. And of course, the worst part about losing 7-0 to one of the teams which could well be tipped to go a long way in the tournament is having to play a team which is high in confidence after a shock 2-1 win against another of the tournament favourites who are in action later today fighting for their World Cup lives. So Costa Rica will have it all to do against the Blue Samurai of Japan. And that is a match we will, of course, be bringing to you right here on the Coach's Corner. So once again, thank you all for coming. And I do apologize for being a little bit late. Lateness is not greatness, no matter what people will say. Now, I will once again share the team news with you, courtesy of our dear friends, once again, at BBC Sport Online. And yes, so basically, Japan have pretty much given their team news right now. And the Japanese boss and former international Hajime Moriyasu has made 5 changes to the lineup, basically making it clear that he's not willing to rest on his laurels. He's brought on both the substitutes. He's brought in, rather, both the substitutes who won the game against Germany with those goals. And so we see Miki Yamane, number 13, Hidemasa Morita, Yuki Soma, the number 24, Ueda, the number 21, and Ritsu Doan, the number 8. And Tomiyasu from Arsenal was introduced at halftime, but again, he's on the bench. Should be fit enough to possibly make an appearance off the bench. And just 2 changes for Costa Rica. We see the number 19, Kendall Watson, who replaces Carlos Martinez, number 16 at right back. He actually came on as a sub in that game. And Gerson Torres, number 13, is prepared here to number 9, Jewison Bennett on the left wing. So it's a 4-4-2 for Costa Rica with Joel Campbell and Contreras, the strikers, whereas the 4-2-3-1 for Japan with Ayase Ueda, the lone striker. But certainly a well-packed midfield. And takes a big personality to be willing to continue to play in goal after having 7 punt past him. But Keylor Navas, as you can see, is certainly no ordinary keeper. National anthem's going on right now. Japan's are first, and of course, Costa Rica's will follow. And obviously, the Japanese fans are lending color to proceedings, sort of waving a draped Japanese flag wherever they are. And the Costa Rican anthem will now be played. And it will be interesting to see how they conduct proceedings as well. So, Joel Campbell over there at the very end of the line. And it is Keylor Navas who once again has the responsibility of captaining the team with Brian Ruiz on the bench. So, obviously, Navas will have had a lot to say to his teammates following that drubbing. And the manager, Luis Francisco Suarez, has a big job on his hands trying to make sure he gets his selection right. just made the 2 changes, obviously resisting the temptation to make any real wholesale changes to the team as such. But we see the big right back there, Waston. I'm pretty certain it is pronounced Watson, as I've said, but it was misspelt Waston. I mean, that happens normally in hospitals. But it's happened in more than a few cases, but obviously see the Costa Rican fans showing no shortage of support and emotion and belief. Still here to enjoy the tournament as best they can. And I have no doubt that Keylor Navas and Maya Yoshida will definitely be meeting again in the center. So, confirmation of the lineup. It is Shuichi Gonda who will be in goal with longtime first-choice keeper Eiji Kawashima on the bench. A 4-man defense, of which Yoshida is very much a part. And Ueda, of course, the lone striker. So it is definitely a 4-2-3-1. And Nagamoto is the left back who will be playing alongside Yoshida with all his experience. And some good talent to come off the bench. The likes of Tomiyasu and Sakai can certainly have a role to play. Moriyasu obviously not wanting his team to rest on their laurels, making those changes. And as I've said, the exchange of pennants and the handshake. And as mentioned, the referee is Michael Oliver from England, with Stuart Burton Simon Bennett as the linesman. The 4th official is from Senegal, and the 5th officials are from Senegal. And an almost all French team in the VAR department, with a Moroccan being the 3rd assistant. And they'll be in charge of overseeing video proceedings. So it is the experienced Keylor Navas who is starting once again, the captaining the side. Confirmation of 1 change at right back. It is Waston who is coming in alongside Oviedo, Calvo, and Duarte. A 4-man midfield, and Contreras and Campbell, the 2 strikers. And of course, the likes of Brandon Aguilera and Alvaro Zamora could definitely come on later on, alongside, of course, the captain, Brian Ruiz. Anthony Contreras, of course, will be the 2nd striker. It'll be very interesting to see how Japan will attack today. And Yagatomo, not Nagamoto, Nagatomo is playing in his record 12th World Cup match for the Blue Samurai. So he's definitely been around the block. And Joel Campbell, a lot will be counting on him. 118 games for Costa Rica, 23 goals. Brian Oviedo, of course. And it is Costa Rica who will be kicking off as soon as the countdown is over. Obviously, Oviedo kneeling in prayer and then getting up. And they've just kicked off with Costa Rica in their red shirts and blue shirts, attacking from right to left. And just want to take a look and see the play settling down, and Japan can now start to try and attack down the left wing. It is the Japanese number 24, Soma, and floating in across, but that is headed away by Waston. But Nagatomo now trying to find someone in the penalty area, and some fairly desperate defending there. I wouldn't say desperate necessarily, but after that was blocked, nobody really made any attempt to try and prevent that corner. So Moriyasu, the Japanese coach, made a couple of fairly controversial squad selections, dropping 2 experienced players from his team. And I will take a look at those players and tell you who they are right now. And Oliver right now trying to make sure that the players are kept in line. Yeah, so it is Genki Haraguchi, the Union Berlin midfielder, who was one of those dropped, along with Yuya Osako, the 57 times capped striker with 25 goals to his name, playing for Vissel Kobe. He was, in fact, injured in one of their last games against Australia. Yuti Nakayama, another uh, defender, was supposed to be in the squad, but sadly suffered an Achilles injury and ended up missing out altogether. And now Costa Rica are going to have to try and break away. And you can see the support now starting to increase in Japan among the Japanese fans. And Costa Rica now trying to break away. Calvo passing it back to Navas, who can try and chip it forward, but that wasn't a very convincing clearance. And that certainly was an even worse shot there from the Japanese number 8, Ritsu Doan. Well, he was, of course, brought in as one of the 5 changes made by Moriyasu, but not the best way to make an impression. And it is now with Costa Rica, who will try and attack. Oviedo, of course, is the left back, with Calvo being the left centre back. And it is with Calvo right now. Oviedo has chosen to go a little bit forward, but certainly that cross from Calvo didn't find anyone. It does find the left back, Oviedo, and Costa Rica, in fact, win a free kick. And the worst part about losing to Spain the way they did is that they obviously have a lot of work to do to try and, make up the goal difference. Definitely, a tall order to try and work on improving that, especially when you've got Japan today and Germany in your final match of the group. But obviously, they're going to try and do whatever they can. The free kick is whipped in by Campbell and eventually cleared. It is, in fact, Torres, number 13, who ends up winning a free kick for Costa Rica so they can clear their lines. Anyone in the chat? Once again, Football Ferreira, Vamos Japan, some support for the Blue Samurai. And Sakshat Adhikari, let's go Japan. Thank you both for joining in today. Good to have you along. So in the first half, it's still Japan 0, Costa Rica 0, and Costa Rica can look to break away through Contreras, but that is sort of cleared away. But Contreras is, of course, on the ground right now. Has Oliver awarded a free kick to Costa Rica? Well, I think the defender actually did get the ball, but also it's pretty painful the way he clattered into Contreras right there. And in fact, Costa Rica do have the free kick. So once again, Joel Campbell whipping it in, left-footed. Sort of just inside the penalty area, but headed away. It's back with Campbell right now, and Doan is trying to attack him, but not really getting anywhere. And Oliver had waved play on, and does in fact penalize Japan for that foul on Campbell. So Doan was in fact sent tumbling and retaliating there with a pretty poor lunge at Campbell. And it will be another free kick for Costa Rica. The rich coast, literally translated. And it looks as though, I don't know what it is, but the sight of very young children, babies, dressed up in their country's colors is always an appealing sight. It's taken by the number 5, and that is more or less safe in the arms of Shuichi Gonda, who didn't exactly spill it, just dropped it a bit, but it was sort of out of harm's way. And that was Celso Borges there who took that free kick. So Japan are breaking away through number 2, Yamane, and that's still among the defense right now, trying to make way. That is Yoshida, who passes that to Itakura, the number 4. all the way to Daichi Kamada, number 5, who passes it back to Itakura. Yoshida, Nagatomo, back to the captain Yoshida. Itakura again. Japan obviously going to look to try and still trying to move it forward, but once again more and more sideways passing among the defense, and Itakura gets it back from Yoshida. Now, once they move into the shaded position, they're just going to try and move forward, but Yagatomo now back to Morita, and Yoshida now over to Itakura. Yoshida to Yamamoto, who tries to pass it forward to the number 24, Soma, who is brought down. And that will be a Japanese free kick. Not too far from the halfway line. Itakura passing it forward to Yamane, who finds the number 21, Ueda, to Daichi Kamada, and eventually that is cleared away. Still, a little bit more cagey stuff. Navas hasn't had to make a save, and Gonda really has only really had one instance where he's claimed the ball. That's number 13, Morita, and is eventually played forward, but straight to Keylor Navas, and the number 15, Daichi Kamada, unable to get on the end of that. So 8 minutes gone, still no goal. Calvo passing it back to Navas, who sends it a long way forward, and that finds the right back Yamane, who tries to send it forward into the Costa Rica half. That was with the number 21, Ueda. Back with Ueda now. And once again, Costa Rica pass it among themselves and try and clear their lines. Some good work there from Campbell. And that's out of play. So Japan are quite content to keep competing with Costa Rica in these early exchanges, sort of taking things a little bit lightly at the moment, but obviously looking to attack whenever they get the chance. And Costa Rica certainly have more points to prove, but Japan do have all the confidence. I think Suarez will probably be looking to try and exploit whatever weaknesses he can from the Japanese team, but it's hard to see any. And as they're attacking down the left, they certainly look quite lively through the number 24, Yuki Soma. Nagatomo with the throw. The vastly experienced Yagatomo, 36 years of age. And obviously, in the attempt to clear that, it only results in another throw. Throw in for Costa Rica taken by the number 4, Keisha Fuller, who was also quite good against Spain, but powerless almost against that ridiculously powerful assault. But now, today, of course, is a different day, different opposition, and Costa Rica have to continue to fight. Now, obviously, the 2002 World Cup was quite successful for Japan when they qualified from their group as group winners and were able to reach the second stage of the competition. And the 2010 World Cup was, in fact, just as good when they were just denied their chance to qualify for the quarterfinals following a penalty shootout against Paraguay. And of course, one of the heroes of that campaign, alongside Yoshida and Nagatomo, was of course Eiji Kawashima, who's sort of fallen down the pecking order and finds himself, strangely, number 3 behind Shuichi Gonda and the number 23 Daniel Schmidt. But obviously his experience and his weight on the team is quite an asset, as was a certain Yoshikatsu Kawaguchi's. Francisco Calvo, the central defender, who's now moved more to left back with Oviedo overlapping. Oviedo now has to desperately run back, but it is with Joel Campbell now. Down the left. Back with Campbell. Calvo. That is with... and obviously Keisha Fuller was trying to get on the end of that. That was Borges, in fact, who had sent Fuller on his way, but was a little bit too far for him. So that certainly looked promising, but Gonda was there to tidy that up. Japan now with Yoshida, Nagatomo, back to Yoshida, who sends it forward and hoping to find Doan, but not quite able to get it. But that is back to Doan through Yamane, and that shot from Doan goes across Navas's goal with no one on the end of that. And obviously the Blue Samurai are in full voice now in the stands. Navas was scrambling, but with no Japanese player on the end of that, that was never going to cause any problems. And still, Costa Rica trying to clear their lines, and they win another throw. A crossfield pass to Calvo, who finds Oviedo. Campbell now. So these three could very well be key down that left side, and we're seeing a lot of them right now for sure. Crossfield pass to Keisha Fuller, who rather lackadaisically gives away a throw-in. And Japan can come down the left and try and attack, but some good defending sees Costa Rica win that ball back. And eventually, after some more attritional play, well, they still haven't quite cleared their lines yet. A pass back to Navas there. Finds Calvo. Oviedo, who smartly wins the throw-in off Yamane. Calvo with the throw, and it finds its way to Maya Yoshida now. Now it's back with the number 4, Itakura, the other central defender. Yoshida. Nagatomo. Back to the Yoshida. Itakura. And Japan can move forward through the number 13, Morita. Actually, that was Daichi Kamada, my bad, with Morita in the middle. Yoshida. Nagatomo. Yoshida once again. Itakura. And more sideways passing to Endo this time, who sends it all the way to the left. And obviously, Soma was released down there by Nagatomo, but unable to really make anything with that because of some pretty good defending there by the Costa Rican defense. It is, however, back with Yoshida. Itakura. Trying to play that forward, but a sort of a mistimed header that from Oviedo. It is now with Joel Campbell, who's at the moment being triple teamed by Japan, and Japan somehow end up conceding a throw. So some good fortune there for Costa Rica. Contreras now Leaves that to Campbell to take that throw. Back to Calvo, who sends it forward, trying to aim for Contreras, but only succeeds in heading it back. And there is a lot of fairly attritional play at the moment, but Japan are now able to break through with Nagatomo down the left, passes it back to Wataru Endo. Itakura now, trying to take that forward. Another pass chipped forward, but not finding anyone on the end of that, and Keylor Navas can claim that. Navas dressed in all black today. Certainly had a black day in goal against Spain, but once again, it's a new day, it's a new game. Sending that forward, obviously, but Japan are pushing back, and some good defending that from the number 17, Tejeda this time, midfielder who came back to defend, but Daichi Kamada trying to move right in. Yamane now could get on the end of that, but sadly wasn't able to keep it in play. And so Costa Rica have now transitioned into a 5-4-1 with Campbell moving onto the left side of a four-man midfield, but you would imagine that he would possibly try and come back and support Contreras, and of course Oviedo can definitely overlap down the left. And Waston now is in fact occupying a place in the very heart of the five-man defense alongside Oscar Duarte and Keisha Fuller. Goal kick from Navas, goes far inside. So the stats tell the story. Japan enjoying most of the possession, 52%, but Costa Rica still in this with 36%, with the remaining 12% being contested. Nagatomo now down the left, and sort of selling the Costa Rica defender a dummy there, passing it to Yoshida. Actually, that's not Yoshida, but it is now with Itakura, Yamane, and Waston clears that away. Kendall Waston, of course, came on as a sub against Spain, and obviously his height and his physicality will be quite important in making sure that any and all Japanese attacks are quelled. Can Costa Rica hope for a win? If they win, obviously they're able to decrease Japan's goal difference either to 0 or lower, but they also need to try and make sure they improve their own goal difference. And number 13, Morita, was alone in the penalty area, but Navas was able to claim that. And there's Francisco Calvo who tries to take that forward. It is with Brian Oviedo. Now another pass back, some interplay there between Calvo, Tejeda, and Oviedo. It now finds its way to the number 6, Oscar Duarte, who passes it to Waston. Back to Duarte again. Now it is with the midfielder Tejeda, hoping to find Oviedo, and he does. Joel Campbell now, and Campbell loses out. So it is Daichi Kamada who goes forward, passing it to Doan, but some excellent work there from Francisco Calvo, who has done really well in that defense. And Oviedo now passing it to Tejeda, and eventually, thanks to Joel Campbell, that is kept in play. Waston, Duarte, and another pass back from Celso Borges to his goalkeeper Navas. And this is more unconvincing play from Costa Rica, but Japan simply aren't able to find that killer final ball to cause Keylor Navas any problems. In contrast, whenever Costa Rica have been able to string some passes together, they've been able to make more forays in. Still haven't quite troubled Shuichi Gonda, but You just imagine that it'll only be a matter of time before either of these teams gets on the score sheet. Japan, of course, hoping to win successive World Cup games for the first time since 2002. Costa Rica, of course, winless in their last 7 World Cup games, and certainly a far cry from the Costa Rica teams in the 90s, which would earn a few wins and certainly give many other teams in their groups a run for their money. Oviedo. And Campbell somehow wins that after a pretty poor pass. And Oliver spots that infringement and awards a free kick. Daichi Kamada there, the guilty party. And Kamada and Ueda and Soma have, of course, had plenty of receptions in between lines. Some good work between them, obviously. A reflection of how aggressive Japan have been when it comes to attacking. It is Oscar Duarte now who tries to send it forward, hoping to find Oviedo, but that is intercepted by Yamane's head. However, Costa Rica now have the ball through Contreras, who could certainly run down the left and cause some problems, but the final pass wasn't really the best, and Japan can clear their lines. It'll be a Costa Rica throw, halfway in the Japanese half. So this is a lot better from Costa Rica. Obviously now, once they find the space and can run, they can cause more than a few problems. It is Oviedo who will be taking that throw. Straight to Tejeda, back to Oviedo. And Oviedo passes back to Waston, to Duarte. Borges has now come into the middle. Back to Waston. Calvo, finding Oviedo with finds Campbell himself with a cheeky pass. And obviously, Costa Rica have shown themselves to be very adept at winning the ball back from Japan, but their first touches have been a little bit too heavy. And so it's Borges to Fuller, back to Borges, over to Campbell, who's now come into the center. Over to Borges now. And Fuller obviously wanting to try and run down the right wing, but a pretty poor giveaway for a throw. And no signs of concern for Luis Francisco Suarez as of yet, but still, we're past the midway point in the first half. Neither team has scored. Costa Rica have certainly looked a lot more dangerous on the flanks, while Japan have certainly looked to attack through the center. And of course, every time they've tried to attack through the center, they found a Costa Rica defender and certainly lacked that quality in the final third. But the same can easily be said for Costa Rica, who have not been able to make their own attacks and possession count. Yoshida to Nagatomo. Trying to send that a little bit long, but that is too long for Soma. And Costa Rica can breathe easy and clear their lines. Pass all the way to Francisco Calvo. And some really good work there from Joel Campbell, who was able to hold off the number 8 Doan there, but Japan are still snapping at their heels. Tejeda now, who has to find one of his teammates, and once again Japan win that ball, but Waston there, outstanding. It is back with Doan though, and this time Calvo earns his bread for his defensive work. And that will be a Costa Rica throw-in. Japan seem to look really, really fit. None of their players have broken a sweat so far in this Qatar heat. And playing in the shade also will be quite important for both these teams and not just Costa Rica. Calvo. Campbell Back to Calvo. Calvo sending that forward, not really having the distance to find the Costa Rica player there, but Borges does connect with Fuller. And it is, in fact, down the right that Costa Rica will try and attack. And now switched back to the left. Calvo's now come up a little bit forward, but I'm sure he will go back. Tejeda to Campbell, who finds Oviedo. Contreras is still isolated on his own up front, but some good interplay there between Tejeda and Oviedo. Obviously trying to find the pass to Contreras, but not getting through that defense. But it is back with Campbell. And Tejeda, the number 17. Borges, the number 5. Keisha Fuller, the number 4. Back to Borges. Back to Duarte. And that goes straight to the head of the Japanese attacker. And Navas plays that out to Calvo. Back to Calvo from Oviedo. Waston. Duarte sends it forward. And it's back with the Japanese defense through Yoshida. And now Itakura. And it can be sent forward by the number 6, Endo. And it is Morita who passes it back to Endo. Yoshida now. Nagatomo. Yoshida. Nagatomo. Trying to take that forward. And that is a Japan throw. It is, in fact, Nagatomo who will take that throw, and obviously trying to find a teammate, not able to get there. And some more desperate, if effective, if desperate defending will keep Japan at bay once again. And of course, the fluidity of these teams cannot be underestimated. And the fans of the Blue Samurai once again in full voice. Borges there, very nearly conceding a corner. And Japan could possibly try and take advantage of this. It is now with the Japanese number 8, Doan. But Costa Rica get that away. And it is now finally with Brian Oviedo, who has space to run on the left. And with Campbell and the number 13, Torres, coming in. There's some support, but now there's a little bit of back pass there through Calvo and Waston and Duarte and, of course, Tejeda. And eventually Kilo Navas. Coming up to the half-hour mark. And there's still goalless between these two teams. Japan obviously hoping to take a great step forward in sealing their spot and qualifying for the second stage, while Costa Rica are just trying to get a win. And if they can score a few more goals in the process, then that would be really good. Oviedo, who wins the throw off Doan. And opts not to take it. Francisco Calvo now throws it to Campbell. And Calvo now with an almost rugby-style kick, trying to find Keisha Fuller on the other side, and he does. Keisha passes it back to Borges, who lays it on to Torres. Back to Borges. Tejeda to Borges again. And push there on Fuller by Nagatomo, clearly trying to say it wasn't me, ref, and Michael Oliver says, sorry, that was you, son. And basically sort of having his hands around Fuller and bringing him to the ground. somewhat quickly taken free kick, and sadly no one on the end of that. And it's a race between Yamame and Calvo wins that race, but Calvo is adjudged to have found Yamane in the process. And Calvo can, just laugh that off a little bit, but I've seen barges like that go unpunished, which is why he's a bit nonplussed at the decision, but sort of the way it goes. And that is Shuichi Gonda coming to take that free kick. Hannah's in the chat. Costa Rica are surprisingly the more dominant team. And hello, of course, to Sakshat Adhikari. Tejeda trying to lay it off to Campbell, but Yamane intercepting and trying to take that forward. Oviedo now trying to clear that, but sort of being surrounded by Japanese attackers. And under pressure, Waston concedes the throw. And Japan can try and look to attack, but once again, Costa Rica have been very accomplished in defense. Campbell keeps that in play and aims a pass along the center to Celso Borges. Torres to Duarte to Fuller. Back to Torres now. Back to Waston. Over to Francisco Calvo. Trying to play it forward again. Oviedo passing it back to Tejeda. Borges. Fuller, of course, has space down the right, but can easily be closed down as well. Opts to pass it back to Borges. Finds Torres, who passes it back to Borges again. Tejeda. Torres now on the right, with Fuller having come in. And Borges sends it across to Joel Campbell. Finds him perfectly. Oviedo now trying to send it into the penalty area, and that is, of course, cleared quite easily. And once again, Japan are not really able to find an opening. Costa Rica have certainly been very solid in defense, almost coalescing around one another, if you will. Waston to Calvo. Oviedo. Tejeda. Contreras lays it off to Fuller. And that is Torres down the right. Up against Nagatomo and Soma. Lays it back, and that is in the penalty area, but Japan can clear. Still in the penalty area. Lays it off to Campbell, who, not too sure what he was trying over there, trying to sort of go for a sideways shot with the outside of his left foot, not really succeeding. And the Japanese manager, Moriyasu, not really liking what he's seeing and just telling his defense to make sure they tidy up as well. Japan can now try and start an attack through Morita and Endo. And that is passed by Itakura to Yoshida and then Nagatomo. And then Soma wins the Japanese free kick, which he takes fairly quickly. Passes it back to Yoshida, sending it to Endo. Nagatomo. And that is played forward. Daichi Kamada sends that across to Yamane, the number 2. Played back to Yamane, but unable to find a way through. Sent back to Itakura, who passes it back to Gonda. And it is Yoshida who has the ball. And Japan once again through Nagatomo try and take it forward. Pass back to Yoshida, who sends it forward. Daichi Kamada has that and will try and, pass that through. But once again, more sideways passing, no real forward impetus. Morita. Kamada. Back to Yoshida, the captain. Itakura, the number 4. And then more sideways play, but this time Yoshida tries to send it forward, only to get it back from Kamada. It is now with Nagatomo. Back to Yoshida. Itakura. And finally, Endo is free and in the center. And Oliver waves play on, deems that a fair tackle. And Costa Rica can try and break through Campbell. And this time, Oliver awards a free kick to Costa Rica. So for all of their possession, it must be said that Costa Rica haven't been able to maintain it due to some pretty poor first touches, but Japan haven't been able to find a way through the Costa Rica rearguard. Waston to Calvo. Passes it back to Navas. That is with Duarte. Back to Navas, of course. Tries to send it long, only finds Yamane, who could send it back towards Navas. It is Morita, the number 13. Over to Endo, the number 6. Doan, Endo, and charged down there by Tejeda, so no shot for him. Yoshida, Nagatomo, Soma, down the left. And Navas can easily gather that. So going through a sea of Costa Rican defenders and a few Japanese players there. And not too sure what Daichi Kamada was thinking, allowing it to go through him. Might have been better off trying to take that and control that and go for a shot himself. But once again, Costa Rica have the possession. And for all of their supposed sloppiness in possession, they are able to win more than a few free kicks. That is Gerson Torres there, the midfielder, who won that free kick. It's with Joel Campbell now. Calvo. Waston. Sending that forward and finds Joel Campbell, who actually allowed that to go through him in the hope that it would find Brian Oviedo. It does find Oviedo effectively. Pass back to Calvo. Waston. Duarte. Waston. Back to Keylor Navas again. And of course, in that particular game, the Spanish goalkeeper Unai Simon was dressed in all black. Maybe the all black jersey will bring Keylor Navas some luck. And Oviedo keeps that in play, but ends up giving that away to Yamane. And that is passed back by Endo to Itakura. Yoshida now. Nagatomo sends it forward to Kamada, who tries to start an attack. Morita back to Nagatomo. Coming up to exactly 40 minutes on the clock and still no goals. So certainly if either team were to score now, that would give them a really good advantage. Yamane trying to play that forward, but that is sent all the way back. More head tennis going on. And finally, Yoshida puts an end to that. And that sort of evaded Keisha Fuller over there, but he didn't concede the throw-in. Probably deciding at the very end to let that go all the way out for a throw. And of course, it is Oscar Duarte who'll be taking that. Certainly been quite active back in defense. Contreras now is able to control it, hoping to find the through ball to get to Keisha Fuller, who was running into the penalty area, but a foul there on Yoshida, and that is the first booking of the day for Anthony Contreras. And clearly Yoshida's not happy with that. And you can see again, anytime a player literally steps on another player's foot, it's the most painful sight. Yamane. And once again, Japan trying to move it forward, but they can't keep the ball in play. Can't really move it forward. So, of course, Japan scored both their goals in the second half, but in the first half, now they haven't really been able to find a way through, and the Costa Rican defense has been certainly effective with the likes of Duarte and Waston at the back playing some really good roles. And Calvo obviously trying to do whatever he can to play it forward. Navas now with the goal kick. Oviedo. Campbell. And it seems to be a bit of a blueprint that whenever the opposing team gets the ball, a team who is able to press and sort of harry whoever has the ball will end up winning it. So far, Japan have done that very effectively. But of course, Mexico tried the same tactic against Argentina yesterday and could perhaps have won if they had any kind of, shall we say, bite in their attack. Neither Irving Lozano nor Alexis Vega were able to get behind the well-drilled Argentinian defense, and the only shot on target that they had was a free kick from Alexis Vega, which was well saved by Emiliano Martinez. Navas to Calvo. And obviously Campbell coming back and winning a free kick. And Oliver decides to bring a Japanese player to book. And that is the right back. Basically the right back there, Yamane, clipping Campbell's heel and loudly appealing that, but Michael Oliver saying nothing doing. Mickey Yamane. You could say that Yamane was taking the mickey. Coming up to 1 minute left in the half, plus any stoppages if necessary, and certainly another half free of any kind of controversy. Calvo to Duarte to Fuller. And you see the Japanese players swarming in, trying to steal the ball and try and make an attack, but so far the Costa Ricans have been wise to them. Kamada in particular has not been able to get too much of a sniff going forward. And it is, in fact, Francisco Calvo who has the ball, obviously trying to slow down proceedings, but eventually passing it to Waston, who sends that via Duarte to Borges in the middle, hoping to find Torres, which he does, and I'm not too sure why Daichi Kamada is angry there, because he was able to, win a free kick. Torres there engaging in a little bit of shirt tugging. So we're into stoppage time, and we're going to find out how many minutes are being added. Certainly can't see it being too many. Just the 1 minute, so relatively controversy-free first half, or controversy, as would be said by my American friends. Not just American, but more than a few others. Oviedo. Calvo. Waston. Good. Sends it forward with about 10 seconds left to go. And Campbell is able to claim that, but I'm not too sure he'll have time to even consider an attack. Obviously, Oliver will be looking at his watch. But Tejeda is able to, he was looking at his watch indeed, and he blows for half-time. So No real chances. Certainly a lot of work in the midfield by both teams. Costa Rica certainly showing a willingness to run forward with the ball and cause a few problems, but not able to really make much of an impression in the midfield. And while Japan have been impressive in the midfield, they have not been able to find that quality in the final third to give them any goal-scoring opportunities. So half-time at the Ahmed bin Ali Stadium, it is Japan 0, Costa Rica 0. And let me just change the ticker here. So I know what you all are thinking, a rather boring first half, if you will. Certainly, given this the first match of the day, can't really expect too much in terms of action, although if the Wales-Iran game is anything to go by, a lot of the action could very well come at the end. Will it be Japan who will continue their amazing run, or can Costa Rica salvage a win and keep their very slim hopes alive? We'll have to find out. And of course, Germany and Spain will be playing later today, and there could be a scenario where both teams end up with one win and one loss each, which will therefore render their subsequent games in the group winner-takes-all clashes. And of course, when Argentina played yesterday, they pretty much regarded the Mexican game as the first of their two cup finals, and that is exactly what Hansi Flick will be urging his boys to do when they take on Spain later today. Spain, of course, looking very ominous in that 7-0 destruction of the CONCACAF team, but Germany are certainly not a team to be, rubbished. Certainly it was complacency which let them down against Japan, but they will also have enough experience and street smarts to know how to cope with Spain. More advertisements. A little boring if you ask me, but it is what it is. And in fact, that is my cue to just take some momentary leave. If you can all excuse me, I will be back in 60 seconds. Whew. And I'm back. Obviously, at halftime, nothing much really to discuss except to go over a few basic points. It was really as if there was nothing that Japan could do to try to force their way through, and certainly the defending of Costa Rica has been rather efficient, if perhaps a little bit a little bit desperate more than anything else, but not too sure what changes will be made, if any, by either team. And while the 5 changes made to Japan have been certainly good in terms of shaking up the team, in attack they haven't really been able to find the that sort of killer ball they would need to sort of set them through and give them a chance to assert themselves on the Costa Rican defense and maybe even give Kilo Navas any kind of trouble. And we see Sol Campbell and Robert Pires over there talking about the formation of Costa Rica, and obviously the shape has certainly looked quite good. Basically maintaining that strict formation, able to sort of find those lines, keeping themselves solid in the midfield. Basically Navas to Duarte to Fuller, through Torres and Borges all the way to Contreras, past Campbell all the way to Oviedo, and of course Francisco Calvo, and then finally Kilo Navas in a sort of irregular pentagonal shape with Tejeda and Waston in between. So they've maintained their shape quite well and have been able to ensure that Japan haven't had a single shot on target. It must be said, though, that Costa Rica haven't been able to get a shot on target. Japan, of course, have had one corner, which didn't really come to any kind of fruition, it must be said. And then we see the substitutes warming up, resplendent in their World Cup substitute, shall we say, aprons, if you will. Playing a sort of in the middle game, but just keeping themselves fit in case they are ever needed to come on. And you sort of get the idea that they could come on fairly soon if the situation, in fact, desires. And of course, Japan's formation is also fairly similar. At least they've been able to move a little bit forward. Both teams, in fact, maintain that kind of that sort of formation where it is completed. Basically, Gonda to Yamane to Doan to Soma to Nagatomo and back to Gonda, with everyone in between knowing their roles and sort of going, not really deviating from that particular formation. I see some passionate support there from the Blue Samurai. And it might not be long now before the teams reconvene for the second half. This is, of course, the first of the fixtures of Day 8 of the World Cup. The second one will be coming up in about 1.5 hours between Belgium and Morocco at the Al Thamama Stadium. The Khalifa International Stadium will play host to Croatia and Canada. And finally, Spain and Germany kicking off at the Al Bayt Stadium. And it's confirmed that in a few minutes they will be reconvening, and I do expect some changes to be made. Certainly by Japan, who will be eager to try to add a little bit more bite up front. But In addition, Costa Rica will definitely want to see if they can add a little bit more bite to their midfield and try and improve the connection of their play. Still 0-0 at half-time, and the second half will not be long now. Any more comments? Nope, no one in. And I will, of course, copy and paste this link here. This is the link which will be pasted in the comments. Any of you want to come in and have your say, please don't hesitate to click the link. I will certainly check you out and bring you on. And certainly group the two matches between Morocco and Canada, and Croatia and Canada, and Belgium and Morocco will be interesting indeed. Croatia and Canada, of course, could potentially be a grudge match following the comments made by the Canadian coach John Herdman, actually an Englishman, but who emigrated to New Zealand and then ended up getting the gig with Canada eventually. And basically saying what he said in order to take the heat off his top striker, Alphonso Davies, who, of course, missed a penalty in that very close defeat to Belgium earlier in the group. And the Croatian manager, Zlatko Dalic, who coached Croatia to the World Cup final last year, in 2018 rather, in the last edition, has said there should be a lot more respect. I don't want to dignify those comments with a response. And Herdman, of course, did apologize, but expect a bit of frostiness in that game between the two managers, and obviously the likes of Modric and Perisic and company will be very eager to set the record properly straight. Canada showed that they do belong on the world stage, but they will have their hands full against that star-studded Croatian team. But Croatia will do well not to take Canada lightly, with the likes of Davies, Jonathan David, and several others who contributed to that fine fighting performance. You just might see more surprises, and Atiba Hutchinson will also be winning his 100th cap in that game. Probably be a special presentation done for him. First Canadian, of course, to reach that coveted historic landmark. And you just wonder if that record of his will stand for a little bit of time, or will there be others who will earn that landmark. Yeah, we're just about to start proceedings in the second half over at the Ahmed bin Ali Stadium. Both teams, of course, are in the tunnel. Navas having a chat with his boys. Japan, of course, getting onto the field. And Moriyasu, of course, the Japanese Southgate with his very trendy waistcoat. Navas, of course, is captain for the day, with Brian Ruiz on the bench. It looks as though Japan have made a change, and they will be making one. It will be the number 26, Hiroki Ito. And there's another substitute coming on, Takuma Asano, number 18. So already Moriyasu has made it clear that he wants to make some changes, and it is Nagatomo who will be coming off, along with the number 21, Ayase Ueda. And it will be Takuma Asano and Hiroki Ito who will be coming on in their place. No changes for Costa Rica as of yet. Obviously, their happy with the comparative damage limitation they're doing. And obviously, the rest of the boys are waiting for the substitutes to take their place on the field and join them. And there's a huddle now for Japan. I do enjoy these huddles, and that was the best part of 3 seconds long. Short and sweet, just telling each other, let's get this done. And the customary shot of fans in the stadium lending some color. And it will be Japan to kick off now, the second half, attacking from right to left. Haven't yet kicked off, but they will certainly do so soon. Can understand it's been a bit boring right now. And they've just kicked off, and it's another pass back to the defense. It is Hiroki Ito now who has taken up Nagatomo's position at left back. Some interplay between him and Maya Yoshida, the captain. Passing it forward to Daichi Kamada. And it is Japanese number 13 there who fires the first shot at Keylor Navas, but that is well saved by the Costa Rican custodian. And so the changes do seem to have worked, with Morita sending that through and receiving that. And of course, the shot was straight at Navas, who is now playing in the half where there is no shade, but a decent save nonetheless, and also having the presence of mind to push that away from any real danger. So the first shot on target of the entire game, and it's Japan who have it. So does Suarez respond with a couple of changes of his own? Contreras, of course, running up there, trying to get that ball, but that will be passed back to Gonda, who, of course, was first choice for Japan during their run to the 2019 Asia Cup final. Keisha Fuller there. And now it is Celso Borges who's running it through the midfield. Joel Campbell taking it forward. And that is Keisha Fuller on the right. Can he keep that in play? No, he can't. That is a Japanese throw. And, of course, confirmation of the lineups. Costa Rica starting off with a 4-4-2, but seeing that transition into a 5-4-1. And there was, of course, the other Japanese substitute, the number 18, Asano, who was running down the left. Another shot into the Costa Rican penalty area. And they're certainly looking very dangerous, but still not quite able to test Keylor Navas, who has, of course, faced a shot already and will certainly be expecting to be a lot busier as the match goes on. Excellent defending that from Francisco Calvo. All his experience coming into play. And, of course, there was that shot from Morita, which was sort of palmed away, if you will, by Navas. And there was a good strong right hand there. And Japan are now attacking through Soma down the left. And some good work by Keisha Fuller sees that go out for a goal kick. So Japan, with those substitutes, have certainly looked the fresher of the two. And Moriasu's gamble seems to be paying off, but they need a goal. Soma with the corner, right-footed in-swinger. And that is headed out, but only as far as Morita, who can certainly try and run, but he's being double-teamed by Oviedo and Contreras. He does win a throw off Oviedo, though. And Japan can continue to attack, and that is sent in. And it's Waston's turn now to concede a corner. And you can see the Costa Rican fans are looking quite confident. They sense that it's just about time. And Costa Rica can't afford to keep sitting back in defense. Remember, a loss today could see them out of the tournament. And that's a left-footed in-swinging corner, which is able to come in the penalty area now, but some great defending there. And the number 6, Endo, trying a shot, and Navas is able to claim that very well indeed, keeping that in play and avoiding conceding a corner. And there's a player down in the Costa Rican penalty area. It is the number 17, Tejeda. Yeltsin Tejeda. How can I forget that? I suppose if you have to name someone after a Russian politician, better Yeltsin than you know who. Waston there coming and sliding in. And Tejeda's still down, but he's up and running now. Costa Rica, of course, are fighting for their lives as we've just passed the 15-minute mark. And Tejeda should be okay to come back on. And he does come back on. And Keylor Navas can send this quite long. Navas has, of course, struggled for game time at Paris Saint-Germain, with Gianluigi Donnarumma being very much first choice as far as the PSG manager is concerned, but will probably, like Wales's Wayne Hennessy, have had a separate training schedule catered to him. Of course, Hennessy, having had a fine game against Iran, blotted his copybook in one of the most bizarre ways you could ever see, which means that Danny Ward will be taking his place against England, given that Hennessy is now suspended. And that is sent through to the penalty area, but neither Asano nor Endo could get on the end of that. Tejeda to Calvo. Some rather niggly play in the middle over there, and Costa Rica can again get it back. And that is Joel Campbell, of course, down the left, being double teamed by Yamane and Doan, and ends up losing the throw. So Japan have definitely been the more aggressive of the two sides, again, with their pressing. And again, trying their best to make sure that they don't allow Costa Rica much time on the ball, while Costa Rica, in contrast, have been content to sort of drop back and use their defense to clear everything away. But it's always a risky strategy, and maybe Costa Rica aren't built to keep that press going forward. Ito, the number 26, one of the substitutes. Yoshida, the captain. Endo, midfielder, tries to send that to the right and finds Yamane. Itakura. Yoshida. Ito. That's Morita, the number 13, who passes it to Endo. And got some tea being brought to me, so that's very nice, of course. And this time, Costa Rica have had more of the possession at 49%, but not been able to do very much with it. Once again, a sort of niggly game. And more substitutes are being warmed up right now, including the Japanese number 10, Takumi Minamino, one of their stars, if you will. And Navas sends that a little bit long. And a foul there on Torres. And Costa Rica can get a free kick. So this is another rare moment when Japan will be forced back, and it'll be up to Costa Rica to see if they can try and make something of this. It'll be Joel Campbell standing over that free kick, and he whips that in left-footed, hoping to find Fuller in the penalty area. Actually, that was Waston there who was in the penalty area and couldn't quite get on the end of that, and that will be a Japanese goal kick. Ooh. And I'm sure that the silence from my side will say it all. It has been a rather boring sort of game. Daichi Kamada there now trying to start something in the middle. Coming up to 56 minutes gone in the game and still goalless. Morita now. He's got Ito to his left and he passes it to Ito. Ito passes it back to Morita. And that's a long back pass to Gonda. Yoshida's on the end of that now. Morita. Ito. Soma down the left. In the penalty area. But that was going high and wide and definitely not very attractive. And this could be dangerous for Navas there. Able to evade well, obviously the number 18, Asano, was rushing in and was able to try and kick it away from Asano. Just goes to show that you can never blink in a game like this, no matter how boring it is, because you never know. It can suddenly explode into action. And Japan now have some ascendancy. But in the end, the play is ended. And that was a pretty poor back pass there by Oscar Duarte, which very nearly sold Navas up the river there. But the experienced Costa Rica goalkeeper and captain for the day showing his quality there. And Japan now have managed to find a way to get into the Costa Rican half. And Japan with another throw. So it is Yamane who will be taking that. And so Suarez now has to act quickly, not too long before the hour mark. And maybe bring on a few substitutes to add a little bit of freshness to the team. This shouldn't be another damage limitation exercise, really. Yoshida to Ito, who sends that forward, and nobody will be on the end of that. And that actually hit Asano on the hand. Yep. That certainly is rather painful. Contreras there trying to make a nuisance of himself but losing out. And Japan can now break if they could find the right pass. And it is now... Well, Asano was trying to get into the penalty area, but the defense once again holding firm. Endo finds its way to Kamada. And that was Morita, who, of course, had passed it to Kamada before. Yamane there, who's out overlapped. Back with Morita. And now with Ito from Yoshida. Kamada's still there, and Yoshida's now come up. And obviously, that was Kamada who played it all the way to Endo. Back with Endo, of course. Ito. Yoshida. And Japan once again playing it forward, but again, not really finding anyone. And once again, Costa Rica defending. And we are now at the 60-minute mark. To be specific, it's 60 minutes 20. But still no breakthrough as of yet. You get the feeling that whoever scores first out of these two will probably end up going on to win. I certainly don't see Costa Rica offering very much, and Contreras being isolated up front has certainly not helped him. Wouldn't be surprised if Suarez takes him off and brings someone else on. And I think Brian Ruiz will definitely make an appearance later on in the game to steady the ship. Morita to Endo. And if he has space, he can take a shot. And Michael Oliver has given a free kick and shown a yellow card to the number 13 there, who sent Endo tumbling. Gerson Torres there. And you can see these fans in their mascot costumes not liking that at all. So there's the experienced Celso Borges who goes into the book. And Japan are making another substitution. It is the right back, Miki Yamane, who will be coming off. And in his place comes the number 9, Kaoru Mitoma. So we have Doan and Soma standing over that free kick, and Navas trying his best to organize the wall. I wonder if there'll be anyone lying down on the ground to act as a sort of a buttress for that wall. It certainly looks a well-organized wall, but Doan and Soma over the free kick, and I'm pretty certain that they both have a good shot on them. Could we see a breakthrough? It is Soma who will take it and sends that over the bar. Probably went for speed and power, didn't get any sort of dip on that, and that was certainly hit with pace, but that was never really going to trouble Keylor Navas given the height, but a little bit lower, and he might have been struggling. It is Soma now who's come all the way to the right, who feeds Asano, also on the right. And Doan now has the ball. Endo. Soma. And another foul conceded by Costa Rica, who are looking a little bit ragged now. And now Suarez chooses the moment to bring on a couple of substitutes. So it will be the number 9, Benetti, who will be coming on. He, of course, started against Spain. And it'll be the number 20, Brandon Aguilera, who will be coming on. Jewison Benete and Brandon Aguilera, and it'll be interesting to see who they replace. Well, it's Gerson Torres who's coming off for Aguilera. Not really been too effective in this game, but certainly ran as fast as he could. And Anthony Contreras is also coming off, who looked a bit isolated up front, it must be said. Costa Rica are effectively fighting for their World Cup lives. And they will, if they lose today, end up out of the tournament. Although that may not even be officially confirmed until the... Yep, they should be out, of course, with Japan having 2 wins out of 2, and Costa Rica having 2 losses out of 2. Soma with the free kick. Heads it into the penalty area, but that is headed away. Mitoma, the substitute, now has it. Passes it to the other substitute, one of the other substitutes, Ito. And Japan can try and build from the back. Ito from Yoshida. Passes it back to Gonda. Izakura, the central defender, to Yoshida. Back to Izakura. And it is back with Izakura now, who tries to send it forward, looking for Mitoma. Can't find him. And Costa Rica really haven't been that effective with their touch on the ball, and Japan have just been at least a step ahead of them. And a lot of people are saying that that has to be the worst 45 minutes of the World Cup we've seen. And another substitute for Japan, it is the number 14, Junya Ito, who will be coming on for Doan. So we have Hiroki and Junya Ito. Number 26 and number 14, respectively, both substitutes. Kamada passing it back to Hiroki Ito. To Yoshida, to Hitakura. And it finds Morita in the center. Hiroki Ito. Yoshida. Mitoma. Hiroki Ito. Yoshida. Itakura. And then Endo losing out there, and that's probably the endo of that. And we're now at the midway point of the second half with both teams still goalless. And that is Daichi Kamada now, who sends it through to Morita. And once again, this time, Costa Rica just cannot clear their lines, because every time a Costa Rica player would have the ball, there'd be a Japanese blue shirt running in or sliding in to make a tackle and win that ball back. So what does Luis Suarez do? And as you know, I do not mean that Luis Suarez. For what it's worth, Japan have now made 4 substitutions, and they have 1 more left, whereas Costa Rica have just made 2. So you get the feeling that in these next few minutes, Suarez will make another 2 substitutes. And Japan have been able to win back a great deal of possession in the last few minutes. And it is Keisha Fuller now down the right, obviously trying to find Benete, but Itakura there with an important clearing header. Soma finding Endo, and that is intercepted by Borges. And that was actually Junior Ito who was sent on his way, only to be intercepted. Junior, of course, another of the substitutes. Hiroki Ito, Yoshida, Endo. And that is now with Morita. And obviously that ball was aiming to be sent forward, but it couldn't quite find its man. Morita now, who can try and send it forward this time. And Asano lets that run through to Junya Ito, the substitute, who's in the penalty area. And Michael Oliver awards a free kick. And it's another booking for Costa Rica, this time to the number 15, Francisco Calvo. So we're coming up to the 70-minute mark, and this will be interesting. Clearly, Japan have been the far more dominant team, and Moriasu's substitutions have really paid off here. Junya Ito getting the better of Calvo, and Calvo basically hauling Junya to the ground there. And as you can see, that suspension means that Calvo will miss the next match. Should Costa Rica, of course, end up with a chance to still qualify when they play Germany. Certainly looked a lot better than the first half, and Navas now organizing his wall. Looks as though it's Kamada and Soma who are standing over that. And this could be a very dangerous free kick, in fact. Certainly a lot closer to goal. Kamada taking it, but straight into the wall, and the wall does its job. Soma trying to send that through, but again, the defense holds firm. Yoshida now to Itakura this time. And that is now with Hiroki Ito, who sends that all the way to Junya on the right. And Junya doesn't make the most of Hiroki's pass and sends that out of play for a goal kick. And obviously you can see now that with 18 minutes left, Suarez is looking rather desperate. I'm sure right now that he would take a scrappy goal in a 1-0 win at this point, but so far Costa Rica have not shown any signs of being able to break that deadlock. Navas sending that into the Japanese half, and that is headed away. And once again, a little bit more niggly play in the middle. And Campbell's on the floor, but this should be a Japanese free kick, and it is. Yoshida to take that, short, and that finds its way to Morita. Headed up by Aguilera. And this time Costa Rica earn a free kick. Well, now we see a little bit more attrition in play, and a rare chance for Costa Rica to try and break through. Amazing shots over there of the players in question. It will be Campbell to take this free kick, and he sends that into the penalty area, but that is headed away once again. And Japan themselves have been able to defend quite well. And is Junya on his way? Well, actually, that was Asano who was on his way, but he couldn't get on the end of that. Itakura there with an important header because Waston was, trying to come in. "74 minutes gone, 16 minutes left, plus stoppages." And again, there have been no real controversies in this half. And that goal kick will be allowed to go out of play for yet another goal kick. This time it will be Shuichi Gonda, who actually, near the end of the Germany game, made some very important saves to keep the score deadlocked at 1-1 before that breathlessly late winner, proving why he deserves to start. Japanese goalkeepers have historically been fine shot stoppers, and Gonda is, of course, no different. Morita sending it forward. Junior trying to find his man, but not really able to, and Japan win that back. So this time it's Soma who's gone down the right, hoping to find someone there, but that will go out of play for a throw-in. And Costa Rica can once again try to clear their lines. We're now into the last 15 minutes, plus stoppages. Oh, man. And we got some comments. Mystic Werewolves in the building. Overslept. UFO sightings over Alberta. Nobody's really caring at the moment. See you to Mystic Werewolf. A bit of a surprise that Japan aren't winning as of yet. And another new subscriber, Ratul, saying a combination of hi and sui. And once again, Costa Rica able to break up that attack and clear their lines with 14 minutes to go, plus stoppages. I wouldn't necessarily call this a dire game, but Japan certainly have looked good value for better value for the win, but again, their quality in the final third has been lacking. Navas has made one save, of course. From Morita, and that's pretty much been it. Yoshida. Itakura passing it forward. And that is with Junior now. And Fuller concedes a corner. Daichi Kamada obviously trying to get on the end of that, but not succeeding. An excellent ball there, which was asking for a Japanese head. And Fuller deciding to clear that away. And you just feel that it's only a matter of time before Japan do score. Their fans are expectant. Soma with the corner, right-footed in-swinger. And that will be headed away by Brian Oviedo for another corner. Actually, that was Oscar Duarte who headed that away. Obviously, Duarte doing a lot more defensive work this game, and certainly his services have been invaluable. Junior Ito to take that, and there's a player down. It is Daichi Kamada who's down. Certainly no sign of foul play from the Costa Ricans as far as I can see. And the corner will be taken again. Kamada's okay, up and walking. Right-footed away swinger. And that is also away. And Costa Rica can try and clear their lines, but of course they are surrounded by Japanese players swarming at them, and the captain Yoshida intercepts that, and that is out to Junior Ito on the right, who's obviously looking for space to pass. Doesn't get into the penalty area, but does find the man, but Costa Rica can eventually clear their lines through Fuller. Finds Joel Campbell on the right. and that is Brandon Aguilera. A through pass to Keisha Fuller, who is offside. Not very pretty viewing for the neutrals. If you're a Costa Rican fan, I suppose you could be a little bit happy that you haven't conceded. I'm sure Keylor Navas would like a clean sheet. And Oliver deciding not to penalise that, waving play on. And Costa Rica can clear their lines. Celso Borges. Oscar Duarte, I think. Nope, that is Jewison Benete. Now passed back to Calvo, to Waston. That is Duarte. And that is, of course, sent through to Celso Borges. Passes that to Joel Campbell. Going forward to Borges, of course. And that is... it's a pretty good play there from Joel Campbell. Not to say that he's really trying anything as such, but obviously Borges trying to send that forward, but couldn't find Fuller. And Tejeda wins that back. And against the run of play, Costa Rica have taken the lead. With 10 minutes to go, it is Keisha Fuller who finds space in the penalty area and sort of chips that over the outstretched hands of Shuichi Gonda. Japan have been really aggressive throughout this game, but have now been pegged back against the run of play by a Costa Rican team that refuses to give up. Some great work here from Borges. And obviously Japan trying to, clear that away, but some pretty poor work there. Morita losing the ball. Keisha Fuller onside, and Gonda not really able to prevent that from going over his head. I believe he got a hand to that, but only succeeded in pushing that into the back of his own net. So a brilliant time for Costa Rica to take the lead. They're still alive in this World Cup for now, and Japan will be under pressure, of course, to try and repeat their heroics against Germany with 1 or even 2 goals of their own. And so I shall, in fact, change the ticker. Japan 0, Costa Rica 1. Keisha Fuller on 81 minutes. And you can see how much that goal means to them. An excellent way to recover from the 7-0 drubbing they received. And Luis Suarez showing no emotion. And Gonda, who was brilliant in the closing minutes against Germany, will probably look back on that and think, maybe that was a goal I shouldn't have let in. And I'm sure a taller goalkeeper would have saved that. So 8 minutes left now, plus stoppages. Can Costa Rica hold on, or will Japan break their hearts with a late equalizer and or maybe a late winner? Yoshida. Itakura. And Japan's response to that is to bring off Soma and bring on Takumi Minamino for the last few minutes. Hopefully Minamino can try and find some magic, but at the moment, they may have a goal difference of -6, but Costa Rica are still in this World Cup, and Japan's goal difference is, of course, now 0. So all eyes will be on the Spain-Germany clash. And if all 4 teams end up with a record of winning 1 and losing 1 from their 2 games, the next round will be set up beautifully as winner-take-all clashes. And the goal scorer, Fuller, tries to head that away, and Costa Rica can clear their lines through Tejada, who's also had a good game today. It is Jewison Benete, one of the substitutes, impeded there by Itakura, and he deservedly goes into the book. Well, it just goes to show. Just when you think the game might be starting to peter out a little bit, something happens and it surprises you. And Costa Rica still continuing. I think the BBC commentators are being a little bit mischievous, trying to add some hyperbole to proceedings. There was, of course, a shot on target by Japan, but that was Costa Rica's first shot on target. Their first shot on target of this World Cup, and their first goal. And you can see that the excitement and elation on the Japanese fans' faces has given way to disbelief and anxiety. Gonda rolls that out to Yoshida. Hiroki Ito. Yoshida. And once again, Hiroki Ito passing it to Endo. This time finding Itakura. Endo again. Yoshida now can try and move this ball forward to Hiroki Ito on the left. Yoshida again. Not exactly been Japan's best performance, and with 5 minutes to go, they really don't have that much time. There should be adequate stoppage minutes added as well, but one wonders if that will necessarily be enough, the way Costa Rica have been defending. But they've scored late against Germany, and they could score late again if they could just find the right ball. And at this particular point in time, almost all of the pitch is shaded, so I'm sure Keylor Navas's vision will not be compromised in any way. And of course, Costa Rica win that and can try and push that forward. I'm not too sure that they will be in any hurry to try and get a second goal, although a second goal would certainly be nice. In terms of, certainly in terms of improving their goal difference. And Minamino gets that forward, headed away. Morita now heading it back to, sort of passing it back to Itakura. Yoshida. Can he send one big ball forward? Another sideways pass to Itakura. Morita. Hiroki Ito. Back to... and that finds in the penalty area, but can they score? And Michael Oliver says no penalty, despite the fact that Minamino was bundled to the floor. And clearly that looked to be the right decision because there was no real contact as such. So obviously no complaints from Minamino. He knows he has a game to play, and Japan have still some more work to do. And that will in fact be a Costa Rican goal kick with 3 minutes to go plus stoppages. So speed of the ball was sort of slowed down by Gonda's hand. Probably his positioning could have been a little bit better, but just a bit too high for him, and you didn't really think he'd have enough strength in his hands to tip that over the bar. And it just had to be Keisha Fuller. So into the last 2.5 minutes of the game, plus stoppages. Will Costa Rica be able to see this out? And I'm sure if they do, Luis Suarez will be definitely a relieved man. And Japan will be quite disappointed to see their work not be rewarded. But it is Mitoma in the penalty area. And a brilliant save that from Keylor Navas. More action in the penalty area. And the Costa Rican goalkeeper comes up big, showing just why, despite not getting any game time, he is his country's number one. Mitoma there in the penalty area. That was, of course, deflected by Navas onto, I believe it was Daichi. Actually, it was... Well, there might have been some claims for penalty there, but apparently it went onto Oviedo's chest. And after all of that, Navas can claim that. And you can see the disappointment on Asano there and the faces of the Japanese fans. They knew that they were close to getting that equalizer they needed. Last 1.5 minutes now, and there will be time added on for stoppages. And Costa Rica will make another substitution. Their third, it will be Justin Salas coming on for Celso Borges, who's had an important game in the midfield. Now into the last minute. The big question is how much time will be added on. Well, that's said quite long. And so what was expected to be a celebration for Japan in qualifying for the second stage has now turned into a delay of their celebration. They now know that they have to beat a rampant Spain to secure their spot in the second stage. But again, although we are coming up to the end of normal time, there will be time added on. Hiroki Ito. Back to Ito, of course. And some interplay between Ito, Kamada, and Endo. Endo now has it. And this time, Endo is forced back, but Yoshida has the ball. And we're going to take a look and see how many minutes of time will be added on. Will it be enough for Japan to find an equalizer? Well, certainly with a through ball like that, that's too fast for Minamino. They won't get that chance. And Japan's fans are still believing. And there will be 6 minutes of time added on. 6 minutes of agony for Costa Rica, 6 minutes of hope for Japan. And credit to Costa Rica. Almost everyone in their team has been outstanding to a man. Coming up to the first minute ending. And the Costa Ricans are happy, but they also know that they have to endure another 5 minutes of agony because you just know that Japan will try and press. But this is a Costa Rica throw. And I'm not sure that Costa Rica will necessarily be eager to try and go for a second goal because, I mean, if it means that Japan and Costa Rica end up with a win and a loss each, Japan, of course, will be under pressure to win against Spain. And this is a result which could certainly suit Germany a great deal because they now know what they need to do. Beat Spain and then beat Costa Rica. And there's a Japanese player on the floor. No foul, but more and more seconds will be eaten up. And that is Asano who is on the floor. Keylor Navas calming down proceedings. Taken by Navas, of course, deep into the Japan half. And let me see if there are any comments. Well, it's hard to say because at the moment Japan are trailing. They might possibly not win if that's your question. But as I say that, Mitoma's in the penalty area. Can he find the through ball? Nope. Once again, there's pinball in the area. And finally, Costa Rica can clear their lines as Michael Oliver awards a free kick and almost certainly sends Endo into the book. And that will be the endo of that attack. Yeltsin Tejada trying to break away, but Endo tripping him up. And you can see the agony on the faces of the Costa Ricans. They know they're so close to a morale-boosting victory. Wataru Endo there going into the book. They're just so close to that victory, they can taste it, and you can see the sadness and disappointment on the faces of the Japanese, who still have to fight on. And that will go out for a goal kick, and Yoshida will be looking to make sure that Gonda takes that as quickly as possible. And Costa Rica will be looking to make another substitution. It will be the number 2, Daniel Chacon, who will be coming on. But of course, first, Costa Rica will have to end this little attack first. And it is Morita on the left, and header coming in. And Michael Oliver breaks up that play for a little infringement there on Keisha Fuller, the goal scorer. And it will be Daniel Chacon who will be coming on for the Costa Rica number 12, Joel Campbell. Campbell, of course, having run 8.5 kilometers. Obviously, no love lost between him and the Japanese players there. Hiroki Ito being brushed off. And it will be Daniel Chacon, the young defender, who will come on to try and see out these last 1.5 to 2 minutes. Let me take a look and see if there are any more comments. Not too sure what that means. But again, the link will be in the chat. If any of you want to come on and have your say, by all means do so. The Costa Ricans, they simply cannot bear to watch. These are nail-biting moments. They're so close to a morale-boosting victory, they can taste it, but they know that they have to endure at least one more minute of agony. But Chacon does his job over there. However, Japan will have a free kick. And of course, with Francisco Calvo suspended for the next game, a lot of thought will be given to who will take his place in the center of that defense against Germany. That is Junya Ito, who fell to the floor, fouled, obviously. So into the last 20 seconds of the 6 minutes added, it is Minamino who will be taking that free kick, hoping to curl it into the penalty area, but that is, of course, headed away. Junya Ito will try and create something, but a Costa Rican throw is awarded, and that, you imagine, will be that. So clearly, you see the disappointment on the faces of the Japanese, and the Costa Ricans might not necessarily be in any hurry to take this, although given the stoppages, a few more seconds may be added. Has Michael Oliver blown his whistle yet? Certainly doesn't look like it. Well, now he has. And that is the end of that, ladies and gentlemen. An absolute smash and grab. Costa Rica were out of the game for the most part. This was supposed to be Japan's day of celebration, but the party has been put on hold. Keisha Fuller there, pretty much snatching victory from Japan. Shuicho Gonda there, who has been outstanding for Japan in recent days, will probably feel as though he should have done a lot better with that. But take nothing away from Costa Rica. They've certainly been good value for their win today. Outstanding to a man, and they're still alive in this World Cup, obviously with a dreadful goal difference, which will be an insurmountable banner. But again, they have one win and one loss, as do Japan. And a full time from the Ahmed Ben Ali Stadium is Japan 0, Costa Rica 1. I will just be taking a small break, and I will rejoin you in 2 minutes. Well, I'm back, and you just can't make this up, can you? As I said, this was supposed to be Costa, supposed to be Japan's day of celebrating going through to the second stage. This was supposed to be the final nail in Costa Rica's coffin. And it's games like this, which is why we love the World Cup. For the most part, it was not really an appealing game to the purists, and certainly Costa Rica never showed any signs of scoring a goal. They never had a shot on target against Spain, but just goes to show that some lackadaisical defending can possibly let you in, and if you get an opportunity, some real enterprise there from Costa Rica, certainly from Keisha Fuller, who was able to get a hold of that and chip that over Gonda, knowing that he isn't really the tallest. And yep, a sensational win for Costa Rica. And the question, of course, now is, will Germany win? Well, it is hard to say, but, you know, this match against Spain will certainly be a do-or-die clash for Germany, one of their two cup finals they have left. The same approach, of course, that Argentina adopted, and it served them well against Mexico. And now they have to do it all over again against Poland. Hansi Flick will order his side not to be complacent. I do hope they continue with that closed mouth protest, but if they don't, then obviously that will be because they have bigger fish to fry. But there is nothing wrong with any form of protest, and I certainly will not be facetious in saying that those who protest too much have seen their performances dip. So that's not been the case. But once again, the link is in the chat. If any of you want to come on and have your say in the next maybe 5 minutes or so, I will probably end this stream in about maybe a few minutes from now. But if I don't see anyone, but again, you're welcome to come on and have your say. And in contrast, of course, to the Argentina-Mexico game, which was also, a little bit scrappy in a way, it had its few magical moments. This one certainly looked to be petering out towards a draw, but then just on the 81st minute, a smash and grab. And it just goes to show once again, this is why we play the World Cup. It's about never giving up, always staying in, and believing that you can that you have a chance and taking that chance. And it might have been one of the worst games of football in the tournament in terms of absolute quality, but certainly one of the greatest stories. They weren't fancied at all after losing 7-0 against Spain, but they won, and there were tears of joy from the players. What a delight to see. And it may be 4 a.m. in the capital of Costa Rica right now, but there's nobody going to bed, and I'm sure they will be in a huge mood to have some form of celebration. Yeah, so they were just showing some highlights of the goal, and obviously Yeltsin Tejeda from Costa Rica doing some good work to win that ball after some pretty poor defensive work there from Morita. And now highlighting Keylor Navas's save early on in the second half from Morita. It was probably at a comfortable height, but it was actually rising, so that right hand was definitely important. And Navas, of course, proving why he is Costa Rica's number one. The save over there would sort of almost hit either Minamino or Oviedo, and that actually hit Oviedo rather, and a bit of a surprise that the Japanese didn't really claim claim a handball, but Navas recovering from that 7-0 thrashing to save his side and keep a clean sheet. Navas, of course, was outstanding for the Costa Rican team, which qualified from their group along with Uruguay in 2014 in Brazil. And they, of course, made the quarterfinals of that World Cup. And so as it stands, Germany are yet to play and are on 0 points. Spain have a goal difference of 7 and will be playing Germany later tonight. That match could very well see Germany exit the tournament unless they're able to come up with a similar smash and grab. And it would be wonderful, of course, if all 4 teams had the same record of having won 1 and lost 1. If they do, then, of course, as I've said, these upcoming games in this group will be winner takes all games. And, of course, goal difference does come into play. So Costa Rica will have another cup final against Germany, and they will need to win that to secure their progress through. And you never would have thought that possible after that 7-0 shellacking. And as for Japan, as I said, they were supposed to be celebrating their passes through to the second stage, but they now have it all to do against a Spanish team, which are, of course, firing on all cylinders. And yeah, I will certainly look to consider everything, but yeah, I might possibly be with you for the Croatia-Canada game later on today. If you will see, if I do decide to do that, you will see me here on this same channel. But of course, with no one coming in, I will end the stream in the next 1 minute. So obviously not a memorable game, but I want to thank all of you who've joined in the watch-along. Shout out to everyone who's come in the chat. Salma Gamer, Fabricio Southgate, Ratul, my dear friend from Canada, Mystic Werewolf, of course, and Sakshat Adhikari, and of course, Football Ferreira. I know that Sakshat and Ferreira were supporting Japan today, but sadly that didn't quite work out, and Japan will now have it all to do against Spain. So, you know, this is where the World Cup starts to get really exciting, just when you think teams may be on their way out. Reference to Argentina and Costa Rica. They find a way to come back in and save their skin. And just when you think teams may have it made and will be on their way through, read England and Japan, they end up having it just a little bit more to do all over again to make sure they qualify. Of course, England will be in a much better position, but Japan will be up against Spain, and that will not be an easy game in any way. So, once again, shout out to all of you for joining in. Shout out to everyone who's come into the chat. I see Oris Talks Football is in the building. Big up, son. I hope you're well, and I want to thank you, of course, for working with Hanno and me, Hanno, and allowing me to do all of this with the two of you. Yesterday's game was great fun, but I hope things are well with you and your family. Take care of yourself, and I will definitely see you soon. And this is the final headline for the day. I mean, for now, certainly. Japan 0, Costa Rica 1. The Blue Samurai are not through yet. They will have it all to do once again. Costa Rica were down and out, but now they're still very much in. And with that, I bid you adieu, and I will catch you on the next stream. Do please like this video. Do please subscribe to the Coach's Corner. Click the bell button for notifications of upcoming videos. And once again, I am looking forward to continuing to bring you coverage on behalf of Hanno's Coach Corner and also Oris Talks Football of the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Until then, thanks once again for joining in. Stay safe, stay happy, Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And for now, I'm out.